game. So this is obviously a kind of a crazy match to have first round. In the bottom right-hand side, our red Terran player is Team Liquid's TaeJa. And ex-Team Liquid, now on Black Knight, making a bit of a return to the game, we do have HerO. And this is not the CJ Enters HerO. This is the HerO who played way back when, and I was just saying this, I may put this one on YouTube if it's a fun series, but I was saying this just before we went into this, and these guys, they didn't play each other since 2015. And they played a lot in 2012 to 2015. They quite often found themselves in DreamHack Finals, DreamHack Open 2012, Grand Finals, HerO wins 4-0. Lots of round of 8s, lots of playoff matches. DreamHack Open Summer Final, TaeJa 3-0. Is that the one in 2014 where TaeJa just went undefeated? I feel like it was. Where he didn't drop a map, or he dropped like one map along the way or something. Crazy. This is the first time they've ever played each other in Legacy of the Void. Crazy, crazy stuff. As we do set ourselves up here, SCV will be moving around. Start up on Simulacrum. So we are also playing on the new map pool today. Obviously, kind of expect the map pool to be fairly heavily vetoed in the new maps. We'll see if some of them sneak through at some point. Maybe in our best of 5 finals, we'll see a little bit of that as well. So a very kind of intriguing kind of setup in terms of whether we get to see those or not, of course. I mean, whenever you have new maps, even if they're kind of good maps, it takes a while for players to feel comfortable on them, etc. So yeah, as we get this set up, Command Center dropping down, Nexus coming in. Both players will start this off with an expansion. It's actually kind of weird because I know HerO's been practicing a lot lately, has been playing in a qualifier here, qualifier there, a couple of events, but nothing too, nothing too significant. I know TaeJa's also been playing here and there, and obviously TaeJa has had some pretty good runs here and there as well. I think TaeJa keeps showing up and being quite impressive. I mean, in a Home Story Cup, he actually nearly beat Cyril in a best of 5. I mean, this was last year, or maybe even before that at this point, but TaeJa's been very good lately. I mean, he shows up in a Kung Fu Cup now and then and takes on some players. He absolutely has potential. I mean, we cast like a TaeJa TY series. Maybe that was with WSG. It was a best of 5, and that went this distance. So TaeJa with absolutely potential here, and again, it's kind of hard to know how good HerO is unless you've been watching his stream and watching his MMR, I guess. They're two players that are just very well hidden because they're not playing in a lot of events, but they still have been practicing. You know they've been around, so there's that kind of weird in-between, as we do have a weird in-between right here in the natural expansion. HerO is able to deny mining for a little while, being a little bit frustrating. I mean, an extra marine or two pop out, but obviously they're denied from getting towards the bunker here. The Adept will shade away, so it will be out of there. The Reaper comes across the map, and the Stalker came across, but there is one Stalker left in the main base as well. As the Reaper hops down, and Twilight Council will lead straight into a Blink opener with 2 Stalkers already made. Kind of the expectation. Nothing really too crazy about that. As you do just see the Stalker Adept hanging around. So they're just still kind of here to apply some pressure. There's Proxied Pylon from earlier in the game, allowing to maybe possibly, warp in these couple of units. And so 3 Adepts show up again. Have to be very careful of the Widow Mines. That's going to be seeing a few Adepts continue to shade back out. Then, of course, the Widow Mines, if they connect, are very dangerous. And oh my god, how did that one not go off? Yeah, these Adepts being very frustrating. I like what HerO is doing so far, just keeping up the bit of pressure, getting in there, getting a couple of workers, not really losing much himself. So far, making this a pretty decent effort, all said and done. As we do have the 2 Adepts just continue to shade around. The Reaper's still alive from TaeJa as well, by the way. He's gotten a lot of information with this. He saw the Twilight Council early, he saw the Robo follow-up. So TaeJa really working the Reaper quite nicely here, and as he runs this away, might even keep it alive. The Adepts, they'll just get 2 shots off. Now TaeJa will have his Widow Mine drop coming up to the top side of the map. So Widow Mine drop to move in toward the main base here. A couple Stalkers moving around, a couple already sitting in the main base. And here we go. Widow Mine starting to unload a few of these probes. Having to run away already, and well, first connection, second connection, 2 probes so far, but both the Widow Mines will go down. 1 Widow Mine left in this medevac, so still an opportunity as the third CC from TaeJa is going to be finishing very soon. So this is actually very interesting because we've actually seen this really develop as the TvP meta lately. The 3cc coming in before the second and third racks, before IEM Katowice. We really saw a little bit of this. It wasn't an unheard of thing, but we saw a lot more kind of second and third barracks, a bit more of an aggressive setup into the third CC. And now that would be considered kind of crazy because pretty much everybody is going for this 3cc after the 111, then into the extra barracks, engineering bays, and playing from there. And it lines up into this Stimpack Combat Shield 1-1 timing. And this really seems to have become the go-to for TvP at the moment. So a big meta shift, in all honesty, because it does take away a lot of the aggression you see around the 8-9 minute marker. That's very committed. I mean, maybe 7 or 8 minute marker, right? That's very committed with 3 racks. And it turns it into aggression around the 9 or 10 minute marker off of 3cc. But obviously you don't need to do as much with that because you're playing 3cc, you're playing that already, etc. Now, we see from HerO only 3 gases, and that will be a second forge as well. So you will go double upgrades. It won't be super crazy on the... I mean, it's going to be a lot of gateway units, but it's not going to be super crazy aggressive looking to all in. The 3 gases will mean he's just sticking to that until he takes an extra gas to then say, okay, now I can tech up a little bit. And from here, there's a couple options. You can go Robobay, you can go Storm. The Observer gets sniped down there from the Raven. That's a nice pick off for TaeJa as these Stalkers trying to slow down the third base being taken. But yeah, Terran players are feeling very comfortable taking this third CC pretty quickly onto the map as well. And maybe that's the thing that might change a little bit from the Protoss players, being a little bit more aggressive to try and shut down those third CCs from coming out into location. And especially if you can do some kind of attack that hits before Stim, Combat Shields, etc. These Stalkers won't do anything here, though. This is enough units, absolutely. The Widow Mines especially mean that you just can't push that far through. Of course, the Stalkers are just keeping this from being a movement across the map. Nice pickup from TaeJa, but the blink forwards to get the medevac kill. However, that's going to cost you some Stalkers, so this might not have been worthwhile for HerO. 3 Stalkers going down, as now we do have the Prism in the main base, and that's something TaeJa already pulls some units to work with. A couple of Widow Mines here as well. These Zealots taking quite a bit of damage. I think as the Widow Mines burrow up, those Zealots will be cleaned up more or less. Oh, he hits the Warp Prism. Oh, actually, I'm not sure if that was the better call, because hitting the Warp Prism, yes, it gets it low, but obviously those Zealots still dealt a bit more damage. Now we see an attempt from TaeJa to want to go up this ramp, but it's kind of tough. The Widow Mines burrowing up. We do actually see the extra gases were taken here in the Templar Archives place, so HerO is already content to start teching up, so that's what he will start to go for now. The Warp Prism across the map finally dealt with, and it is going to take down 9 workers as we see an anti-armor missile. Well, actually, those force fields hurt HerO as well. The anti-armor missile is actually quite nice on the Immortal. Take that down very quickly. But the bigger issue is that those force fields for HerO actually were quite bad. And TaeJa, he backs away from it, doesn't push too hard. You got to remember at this point, as TaeJa snipes an Observer with the Raven and the Auto Turret, at this point, TaeJa's been on the map for a long time without reinforcing. He's been having his reinforcements at home, dealing with the Warp Prism, etc. And alas, that's obviously at this point meaning he's not been able to send units across the map. So has been struggling there. Looks like TaeJa didn't realize the Warp Prism went down because he was still kind of sat there waiting for it, thinking it was in the corner. He is bringing more units across the map now, utilizing these Widow Mines here as well. Of course, we did have a bit of a change up on the map here. So a couple of maps were changed going into the new ladder season. And this map is one of the ones that was changed. These rocks weren't here before, unless I'm going crazy. And they changed some of the pathing into this third base to make it more defendable. So there's low ground third, the triangular third now, is maybe going to be a bit more popular overall. Storm ready, and in the Warp Prism there's a bunch of High Templars. TaeJa will see this attack setting up. He will come back home to fight this, so he was well across the map. No, now he's going to commit over. He's going to pull the SUV, he's going to lift up the base, and that should already tell HerO that TaeJa is doing something somewhere on this map right now. As we see Zealots charging in towards the bunker at the front, is there a way for TaeJa to defend this? He's going to lose the third CC, but obviously as he stims in, he's going to find himself quite a bit of damage. Already knocking down pylons, knocking down the robo facility. There's a huge recall into the main base. So far, base for base. If TaeJa leaves out to the third base... Oh, where did... Actually, the recall came into the third base. Oh, Interference Matrix on the Warp Prism. That's huge because now the High Templar can't drop out of it. Oh, that's actually a massive play. No splash damage available right here. I mean, that's going to fade away in a moment, and those High Templar will change this, but it really has made a difference, I think. There's the High Templar now dropping in. Now you start to see the cleanup blinking forward, so medevacs are going to get away. Maybe TaeJa just about did enough there to kind of hang on with this. Remember, he lost a third CC. HerO has a fourth base, though. I mean, that's kind of huge in this scenario, obviously, because you're working on a 4th base already. You already have somewhere to send those probes to. And TaeJa here in the map is kind of having a bit of a skirmish. Some of the zealots that were already running forwards. TaeJa just down on army supply, and it looks as though HerO might have just about enough. SUVs have to be pulled forwards into this as TaeJa's trying to rebuild a command center out in the open. High Templars will get sniped down as the Warp Prism falls. One of them comes down, one storm available. TaeJa moves his main base orbital back. He had to cancel a new CC. He's still fighting this here. He's moments away from a +2 attack upgrade, but also moments away from the Protoss having +2 armor with extra High Templar coming across the map. HerO looking to keep TaeJa pinned back up on the high ground. Wow. That was actually, this is actually such a fun game. Just gonna put it out there. This has turned out to be such a fun game, as I think TaeJa is in a lot of trouble. Down 20 workers. His army supply is still okay for the moment, but he's also working on pure bio units against, you know, a lot of storms. And so far, the storms have actually really whiffed a little bit. I mean, good splitting as well from TaeJa, but the combination has been pretty good on the side of TaeJa for the most part. And I mean, great micro. Now he's going to catch a couple Archons here. Oh my god, if he gets both of these... I mean, we're just talking about an army supply that's very even on either side, so TaeJa, if he can make something happen in the next moment or two, maybe he has an opportunity. He has re-landed that main base orbital, starting to build up another CC now. Remember, his income will be down in the gutter in comparison to what HerO is working on, but he's about to get some ghosts. Now, enhanced shockwaves isn't in place. You don't have the extra EMP radius. You can see HerO's income lead starting to kick off right here, a little bit lost as he transfers probes between bases. If TaeJa can get a couple of good EMPs, there's always potential, right? There's always a little bit of hope, but they're going to have to be so good, especially considering that smaller radius right now is, oh no, the ghosts that we're talking about are currently caught by these zealots being chased. TaeJa pulls back to try and save them. He gets them into the medevac, and he drops them back down, and the ghosts will be saved for the moment. This obviously potentially delays the attack. The first EMP was too soon, and the High Templar weren't out the Warp Prism just yet. And so it does miss, and the first storm in a while actually lands on this army. That makes a big difference here, as we do see the rest of these zealots of HerO coming back over the right side. Nice cleanup by TaeJa, though, not allowing any of this harassment to really, you know, strike him too hard. And now he's going to get an extra CC up. I mean, honestly, maybe I'm still just being a bit too hopeful. Maybe my inner TaeJa fanboy is just waning right now as he hits a good EMP on the first few sentries, on the Immortal as well. But there's so many zealots here, and that's where the enhanced shockwaves would just help that a little bit more, hitting a few of those zealots, taking some of their shields away. Love the play here from HerO just to go into extra robos. There is no preparation from TaeJa to deal with Colossi, and if you just show up with 3 Colossi here, TaeJa might just die. It might just make the difference in a fight. As HerO's still sitting out over to the left-hand side. A few zealots moving around the top as well. Bio army wanting to press forwards into the center here, and he's just going to step forwards for it. I mean, that's a bit of a hopeful affair, and TaeJa, a little bit of a sad ending, but it is going to be GG. I think it ends soon anyways, with the robo facilities coming up, etc. As HerO will take game 1 of this best of. So looking forward to that as we get this up and running. In the bottom right-hand side, our red Terran player down a map. This is Team Liquid's TaeJa. And in the top left, Blue Protoss is HerO. Ex-Liquid. Great. I mean, again, what a throwback this is. I'll just say this now. That first game was a lot of fun. This is very likely going to go up on YouTube tonight. I don't actually have a YouTube game for tonight just yet. I was kind of hoping today's matches would give us something, and I think this one might be it. So I will just say quickly hello to all my YouTube viewers if you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. Hopefully you are. And don't forget, you can obviously like, comment, let me know what you think of these two legends playing each other again in 2020. And of course, if you're really enjoying, don't forget to subscribe too. We are very close to 15,000 YouTube subscribers. We're like 200 and something away, like 212. By the time the video goes up tonight, if this one does go up, we'll probably be like 200 away. So help us out with that. 15,000 would be awesome. We'll do a little show match or something just for the 15,000 YouTube subs, I think, as well. I think we'll do that. A little something special. We'll figure it out. Game number 2 of this best of 3, and we do have the SCV of TaeJa making its way out to the upper left-hand side. waiting for the initial expansions to come down. It will be Cybernetics Core first from HerO, so already the opportunity and possibility of moving in towards an Adept early and getting aggressive. And HerO was very aggressive from the very early stages of that last game. And TaeJa, despite the bunker, was still in a bit of trouble, was still held back, lost a bit of early game mining, etc. Obviously, the turning point of that last game really came down to the fact where it was just like, oh my god, it's like TaeJa's attacking and HerO's attacking, and it was this little base trade, and it just feels like that goes so much better for HerO. You know, both of them lose a base, but HerO already has a 4th Nexus up. And so TaeJa just kind of is the one losing position, and HerO kind of just recalls back home and kind of deals with it. So that's why I thought TaeJa, you know, initially TaeJa started to pull back home, and that's why I kind of thought, hey, maybe TaeJa here is just saying, yeah, this is not a good scenario for me. I'll just pull back home and defend. Yeah, I'm a bit out of position, but maybe that's going to work out better. In the end, he does commit to it, and he just goes for the base trade. And I mean, it worked well. The interference matrix on that Raven was awesome, like really sick. I mean, it was a really fun game in general. I mean, TaeJa did a lot of things right and really gets me hopeful for a great game number 2 here as well. Hey, thank you so much, Taco Stuff, for the 10 bits as well. 47 is for the 500, says Rise from Your Grave. It's TaeJa versus HerO. And also Konglord with the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you so much and welcome to the Wardy family. So good to have you. As we do see TaeJa scouting around the top right-hand side of the map here. So having a little bit of a look around, seeing what is up as our Dark Shrine from HerO sets up on the left side. So this is a big change up from HerO here going into game number 2. Now, you don't typically see a Raven super early in the game from Terran players. This is always going to be like a medevac or so early. Now, the Hellion on the map should help you to get around and scout. And TaeJa has typically been very good at scouting for proxies, etc. But he's already been over towards this Dark Shrine location once. The question is, would he go there again? He's actually seen so much of the map. But yeah, does he go back over there again? Probably not, as he's going to move forwards. The Reaper will see a Twilight not upgrading. That might already be a bit of a sign here from TaeJa. If you can recognize that that wasn't upgrading there. There is a difference when you're upgrading and not upgrading on the Twilight in animation. Now Charge starts behind us, so you can go DTs, and if they don't do enough, you can turn it into like a Charge Lot Archon. Pretty aggressive push. As we do just see another probe. Chrono boosting out on the natural expansion. TaeJa, I mean, this comes down to him saving energy for scans, because at the moment, he's dropping mules, and as he hits 50 energy here, he has to start saving for scans. He will start a Raven, okay. So he's got a scan ready. Ah, no, he doesn't. He drops the mule. So he's going to have a Raven building, but the DT's got a slow warp in, so the Raven's got a pretty good shot of coming out here. I mean, what? It's going to be about 15 seconds to wait for the Raven. It's doable. I don't think this actually puts you too far behind here as TaeJa. It would have been nice if he had the scan, especially because it's just one DT. Initially, he could have scanned pretty much immediately. And then just kind of push that back. And then you take, like, no damage here. Instead, well, he gets the wall off. Now, you can see what HerO's doing. He's targeting down Marines because a lot of this, he knows he can go into this kind of Archon Charge Lot follow-up. Obviously, to go into that Charge Lot Archon follow-up, killing off army is actually a very, very nice thing to do. As we do see now, the Raven comes in. And he will move forwards. And he will get rid of one DT. You got to remember these DTs are an investment as well. So while some damage is done, I don't necessarily know if this is enough damage to say, hey, you know, that was worthwhile overall. That's a pretty interesting question, as we do see 2 refineries dropping onto the natural here. The Warp Prism continues down to the bottom side of the map. We'll see. In the end, he doesn't really seem to want to commit through to anything, right? He did start up a you know, other tech, Robo-Bay, etc. So it doesn't seem like he wants to go further into this sort of aggressive play. I really thought maybe if he does more damage, he can just follow up with Charge Archon and just win the game. Instead, he's just going to move in towards the into the main base, use the Warp Prism to harass. He's got the extra gases all placed, so he is just going to continue teching up straight in towards the Colossus. As there is the Raven. Could have maybe dropped a Matrix. Oh, Widowmine's going to go off, and oh my god, double Widowmine. What a catch that is. Warp Prism goes down. As now you just got to get the couple of Raven back over towards the natural here to clean up this DT. We're just missing an engineering bay, right? TaeJa not going in. No, well, he's got an engineering bay. He's just not built the turrets yet. I was going to say, it's kind of weird to not have an engineering bay by now, having known its DTs. The Raven is huge, because what the Raven allows you to do that was missing for such a long time for Terrans in this scenario is the Raven lets you move across the map, because you don't have to save scans for DTs all of the time. You know, before you'd have like 2 scans, and if you kind of use those 2 scans, well, then your DTs start killing your army. Now the Raven really lets you come across here, so you do need to protect that, but that should be fine because there's no blink in play. And this Colossus is not that scary. If you hit an interference matrix on it from the Raven, then the Colossus is absolutely nullified. And you can already see these units pressing forwards, but charge does make this scary. But it might as well burrow up. What are they going to connect onto? A bit of everything here. Honestly, TaeJa just doesn't have enough bio to realistically keep pushing forwards, though. So you will back away as a DT. Slows down this third base from being taken. There is a scan that was saved up. And he actually sees this pylon as well, so you can get rid of this pylon that has been warping in throughout this game so far. And there is TaeJa looking as though he might be able to keep this third base up. I will say, I think taking the third base at a time like this where, you know, in position, I think is very brave. Because you know there's DTs on the map. You know there's going to be a very easy way to deny that third base from building. So for me, it's just a bit surprising to see TaeJa building that here, rather than just building it up here, right? Very quick float down to the low ground. Yes, it's not as ideal as taking it in position, but I mean, it probably is already being delayed so much by one DT. Imagine there's a second DT or so. I mean, maybe it's because he got rid of the Warp Prism, right? Get rid of the Warp Prism, you feel a bit more freedom to be able to expand over there, instead of just saying, oh yeah, you know, yeah, I'll take it elsewhere. It's like, oh, TaeJa, he's found the Dark Shrine as well, so that's a nice catch. Because now you can take away DTs from being on the map. So how many DTs are there? There's one DT on the map. And that's it, so you kind of don't really have much threat of DTs any longer. This one will probably hit the third base, but there's already a missile turret here, so it's realistically not going to do much as TaeJa just makes his way in towards Viking production. Armor upgrade to join the attack upgrade. Same thing that's happening from the side of HerO. And we're basically just seeing a setup where HerO's kind of gone into upgrades in Colossi, and now TaeJa's going into upgrades in anti-Colossi, adding the Ghost Academy as well. They're both on free bases pretty happily. And I think we're in a pretty happy position from either side overall. I don't think anyone's like really sad about their location. I mean, there goes the final DT, so that's the DTs dealt with unless we rebuild the Dark Shrine, which is an investment at this stage as well. You know, you see the Templar Archives coming up, and that's something which will really help you out going into the next stages of the game compared to a Dark Shrine, which is like a little bit hit or miss. It's a lot of money to spend when you've already built one Dark Shrine earlier. It did okay, but nothing like super ridiculous overall. Protoss army is out over this left-hand side, pushing through for the moment. And TaeJa, a little bit afraid. I mean, his Viking count isn't like super high up there just yet. He's only on 4, so it's a little bit kind of... Again, it's just not quite there yet, right? It's not quite where you want this to be for the moment. To fight 3 Colossi, but HerO ends up backing away. I mean, he killed a couple of supply depots and he just backs off. I mean, really nothing too crazy either, just doesn't want to overcommit in. He's got High Templars morphing, so he'll add Archons on here very soon. Not going into Storm just yet, as we do have enhanced shockwaves on the way, so TaeJa absolutely hitting that sort of later game Terran army that we like to see nowadays, especially with the enhanced shockwaves giving you a lot of options. And you do see these couple of ghosts running forwards as well. Going to be seeing a Marine dealing a little bit of damage to this pylon. And HerO back onto the map. So if he can hit before, I mean, we're still only on 4 Vikings. I really think that's the one thing that I could criticize about TaeJa right now. It doesn't feel like he's taking the Colossus threat really seriously. I feel like a second starport sooner is oftentimes one of the things you see. If you're going to play like no starport, I feel like you need to be ready to drop or so, right? Like, really have some sort of answer to this. I mean, the EMPs help against Colossi because they can blanket EMP and then you can take stuff down a lot more quickly, but I'm not convinced about this just yet, as we do see the Marauders taking down a couple of Zealots on that left-hand side, so that run by will be halted. Hallucinated Colossi coming up here as well. Remember, there is a Raven, so full of energy. It can hit a couple of interference matrices to slow this down as well. The EMPs start to come down. They will hit a lot of this army. There's 1 or 2 EMPs still left remaining on this. I mean, interference matrix has landed. And TaeJa's going to start pushing this back, as this was just not a push up this ramp you could take. Extra Vikings showing up as well. Colossi are all going down very quickly, and now there's not much left over as TaeJa's going to overrun this. Everything gets cleaned up from HerO as he tried to push up that ramp. The EMP's absolute saviors here. The couple extra Vikings showing up, and they did the damage. The big thing is because HerO's the one initiating the fight, the Vikings are able to stay overhead, top of all the bio units. And because of that, you can't ever snipe those Vikings down. So throughout the entirety of the fight, these Vikings are just wailing away on the Protoss army. And now, oh, great EMP to start off this fight up the ramp as you go in. Disruptor about to be built It's not going to get to finish, and now Zelda running in on low HP. No, the Disruptor does finish up. Can he target it down? It does go down before the connection. A couple of Vikings will land to help out. TaeJa sitting in this choke point. Zelda will warp in on the other side, but then he just goes back through to the other side of the choke point with reinforcements showing up as well. TaeJa is continuing to push on forwards, and HerO does not seem to have the numbers he needs, and we are going to a game 3 here between TaeJa and HerO. Ooh. Wow, TaeJa, what a defense. As he's able to tie this series up 1-1 and go into map number 3. This one going the distance and absolutely deserves to. TaeJa had a great defense there, did just what he needed to do. And HerO maybe a little bit too over-eager, feeling that there wasn't enough Vikings, but hey, didn't matter. I guess I'll just say this in game, but that last fight, HerO's just like, oh my god, I've got this. I've got 4 Colossi, he's got like 4 Vikings, I'm fine. But he doesn't see the ghosts. The EMPs hit everything, and so everything running up that ramp gets annihilated. It's also a few moments before +2 attack kicks in as well. And if HerO has that +2 attack, those Colossi do so much more as well. So there was just a little bit missing from HerO there in his decision to go up that ramp. That's just... he just shouldn't have gone for it, right? And I mean, that's obvious to say now, but it's when you look at the state of the game overall, you can kind of see what he should have been able to spot to say, no, I shouldn't, right? His +2 not done. The ghosts were out there. I mean, for TaeJa, it was perfect timing. Enhanced shockwaves kicked in just in time to blanket the entire army. I mean, if they didn't hit so much of that army, he's probably still in trouble as well. And then some fun fighting on the top side. I mean, that first EMP as he hit the top side of the map was beautiful as well. Hit everything that was still alive defensively. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right, top right-hand side, our blue Protoss player is HerO. And in the bottom left-hand side, our red Terran player is TaeJa. Ex-teammates and tied up here 1-1 in this best of 3. As we get this going, thank you so much, first of all, Archeon, for the Twitch Prime sub for 4 months. Just keep up the good work, Wardy. Thank you so much, and I absolutely will, of course. And 47ers with the 300 bits. It says for the YouTube thumbnail, you should use the "What year is this?" meme. I mean, we should just be like, I might just title this one question marks. Like, how does this happen in 2020? Like, I actually don't know how this happens in 2020. I mean, what a matchup. Kind of surprising as well. Because TaeJa wasn't signed up to play until like 2 or 3 minutes before the tournament closed. And then he signed up. And now he's giving us some action. It's like, well, hell yeah. This is turning out to be pretty fun indeed, isn't it? Giving us some good games so far as we kick this off. Just title it with like 11 question marks. And you know what? And then people will be like, oh my god, what the hell could be titled 11 question marks? It's the most genius YouTube title ever. I think the reality is it's going to be titled something like HerO versus TaeJa. Is this even 20? I don't know. I haven't thought about it yet, but I'm going to have to think of it at some point. It is going on YouTube at this point. We've had 2 great games. Let's just hope for more of the same in game number 3. If we get a 3rd game that's just as good as the first 2, it's been a real treat of a series so far. That'd be the icing on the cake, because we do have our Stargate from HerO finishing up in the back of the main base. So that will complete. And the Phoenix will start up. So changing it up, obviously he's had 2 Twilight Council openers in a row, although very different Twilight openers. And keeping it different going into map number 3 now as well. The Stargate opening in the Phoenix, something we're seeing more and more of. Now we'll see what TaeJa's response is. TaeJa already, a couple things to mention, didn't open with a Reaper expand. So he's already moving across the map with a few Marines you don't usually see, with the Hellions to back this up as well. This is going to get a little bit interesting, a little bit aggressive. These Marines actually turn around. They actually nearly killed another Adept. Or is that this? That's not the same Adept, right? No, there's 2 different Adepts here, and they're both in kind of some trouble. So they're both low HP Adepts. I mean, you see a shield battery building, but it's in the wall, so it's easily targeted. Oracle on the way, and the Oracle might just be the savior of this. 3 Adepts right now, but again, 2 of them already low. TaeJa coming in. A couple of Hellions will help out quite a bit here. Oh, he tries to just run the Hellions by. I mean, he's going to get a probe or 2, but I'm not sure if that's really everything he's looking for. He gets 2 workers here, then he's got 2 more Hellions. Can he dart those up into the main base, maybe? No, he's just going to go for the natural as well, and he'll find himself not really much, right? The probe is pulled towards the shield battery. A Phoenix lifts. Oracle chases. I mean, the benefit that you can look at here is that the Phoenix has used energy. The Oracle has used energy. So a lot of defense early used, and obviously great scouting from TaeJa as well, knowing what's going on. And he kept the Marines alive, so he can bring those back home and have those as a defense. And now he's just going to reactor out Widow Mine. So he's actually got already 2 Widow Mines on the map, 1 on the Watchtower, 1 out here. Very kind of random placings. Just really, he's got a Viking too, so he's actually very safe against an Oracle or so. I mean, there is Phoenix as well. I kind of like the Widow Mines though, the way they're kind of just spread out somewhat. Again, I think you could say randomly pretty fairly. It's got a good chance of just catching your opponent a bit off guard. They're not expecting Widow Mines to be here or there or whatever. And those are the sort of Widow Mines that do just sort of, even when you're paying attention as the Protoss player, they're just like, wait, I'm you and then your Oracle blows up, right? So 6 attempts with this, so it will be some aggression from HerO as well, shading forwards. I mean, the bunker is here, of course. Widow Mine will get the first shot. Phoenix goes down. Couple Widow Mines here. Oh my god, these Adepts getting massacred at the moment. Viking coming back in as well. The Marines maybe shouldn't be out of the bunker, though. It looks as though it's fine, but the Adepts are allowed up into the main base. SCVs are going to pull against them. So a few SCVs will go down, but this is obviously a lot of workers killed by these Adepts. 5 SCVs, workers, mine time lost. But the Adept count going down as well, I think, is actually what I was meant to say there before I said the fact that workers have gone down twice. So the 6 Adepts, an Oracle, and a Phoenix make that 3 Phoenix overall. Wow, I didn't even realize it was that many. That's so many units to lose. And resources lost will show you that this was not effective for HerO at all. 1.9k to 1k lost. I mean, it's a huge differential there. And as we're going to be seeing a few units just poking out the front. Hey, what's up, Livy B? Welcome, everybody, from the Livy B stream, and thank you for the raid. And join us in Game 3 of Liquid TaeJa versus ex-Liquid HerO, now on Black Knight. A blast from the past, as we do see the Phoenix firing away Bio Army from TaeJa. Moving on to the map, I mean, this is where it gets dangerous, right? A lot of HerO's early tech has been invested into those Stargate units, which are now dead. So pushing across right now, TaeJa looking to see what he can do as he wants to push up in towards this 3rd base. Sentry and a Stalker warping in right now, continue to gather together. I think this is the push which is really going to test HerO, because it's honestly, it's been kind of a weird game so far. I mean, it's not that much bio, no medevac support either. You're actually very reliant on these Widow Mines connecting. Now medevac's coming across. Obviously, there's no blink or anything, though, and that's obviously an issue as well. I like it. Hallucination to clean up the Widow Mine. But it's actually kind of a lot of energy just to clean up a Widow Mine, right? And you might need those force fields in the near future as well. TaeJa's about to hit +1 arm attack upgrade as well. And these are all the things that are coming into play now from TaeJa. Because in the meanwhile, HerO has been, you know, HerO's been sort of opening Stargate. His blink is delayed. His +1 isn't there yet. He's missing those upgrades you might usually expect him to have at this point. Makes this fight from TaeJa even more hopeful as seeing burn up those Widow Mines. He starts to come in, the force fields. Honestly, the first couple force fields were kind of just, they needed the 3rd force field. Otherwise, the rest of the bio units were able to fight anyways. Now he gets it, but the Widow Mines keep connecting. The Immortal takes a shot, and actually HerO hits the supply block as a pylon gets taken down during the fight. An extra Zealot coming in, that gets taken down by the Widow Mine. And now we're going to see TaeJa just unloading, and he might be able to get away from this if he just boosts the medevacs. Blink will be done in a moment, and HerO can blink forwards to chase, and those medevacs are still pretty low. Reinforcements on their way across as HerO chases this away. A lot of money to be spent in the bank, actually from both sides. HerO has like over 1k minerals. TaeJa has some minerals and gas banked up also. Well, HerO defends here initially. He has gotten all the way up towards 71 probes during this too, so in terms of economy, you can see this went much better for him. He was able to take a much better trade, and so he's evened out the game a lot. He has been taking little bumps in favor of economy in his side. And TaeJa looks like he just wants to try and brute force the front once again. Now, the Stalkers are out of position this time, and TaeJa sees it. I think for TaeJa, that's absolutely a let's go for this sort of scenario, right? You come in here, these Zealots don't have charge, and that's obviously massive in this scenario too. No charge on the Zealots, and that's one of the things that makes Zealots so very good in these scenarios typically. And as we see, TaeJa being very careful, though, still trying to pull back towards his Widow Mines. Warp Prism here now that can provide some micro. Extra 2 Widow Mines going to burrow up at the front, and at the very least, they're going to take some shots away from the rest of the army. So Widow Mines actually connect on Warping in Zealots, so the Zealots will all go down. Still no charge here, as TaeJa will be unrelenting in this pressure, pressing forward still. Shield Battery out of energy, the Immortal super low HP, is only just being kept alive by the Prism Micro. 2 new Widow Mines blow up, 2 new Zealots. And TaeJa just doesn't have the bio here to continue this pressure. So he will be held off, and HerO makes a hell of a hold, considering the situation. That's crazy, as 2 more Dark Templar warp in. A couple of shield batteries will build on the 3rd base as well. 4th Nexus from HerO up on the top side is our Bioforce. Maybe wanting to push up this ramp, maybe wanting to make this happen. Well, Prism unloads 1 DT and moving down the left-hand side here. As we'll have the Marauders. They will join up with the rest of this army as well for TaeJa, so this is all joining up together. I like the DTs, though. Definitely a way to change the momentum in this game. Now, there is scans available, so TaeJa should be able to defend this without too much issue, I think. See the DT that did not get lifted back up, actually. As 1 DT does wander the 3rd base. Now, there is missile turrets around, so TaeJa, honestly, his defense is pretty good here for the most part, as this Warp Prism's going down, so this is just not a good warping at all from HerO. Really, kind of a desperation warping. Now, he kills 9 SCVs. Mostly this DT on the 3rd base putting in work, so the Warp Prism distracted long enough for some damage to be done, but that's now, what, 4 DTs and a Prism? Crazy, as we do see this army of TaeJa wanting to move up the right-hand side. A Dark Templar, which he's going to walk into right away. I mean, even if he just has to drop another scan, a scan for DT is not necessarily a bad trade. He's saving scans to make sure he can get rid of DTs right now, so it works for him. As he takes a 4th base out in location, we'll finish that up. Just wants to get a missile turret there as the planetary will start to morph in. And what are you missing right now is TaeJa. I mean, he's got Liberators up too, so he can absolutely do some zone control. They are not in this fight, which is a bit back and forth. Neither player will really take much of an advantage there. And the rest of this still from HerO will push through. I think TaeJa will just take a moment to back off, but he's already on his way towards Advanced Ballistics. Now, we talked a lot about last game, the Colossi being up and there not being enough Vikings. So you might be like, well, where are the Vikings this game? Because TaeJa is going to be on Advanced Ballistics on like 8, 9 Liberators before the Colossi are higher than 2 or 3 in number, then you're actually in a fine position. The Liberators and Lib range will kind of cover you for not having Vikings. So that's actually completely fine from the point of view of TaeJa right now. That shouldn't really be too much of a concern for him at all. He should be just fine for that, as we do see this Bio army sitting out on the right-hand side, still trying to do something. I love this a little bit. You can actually see the Widowmine's legs in the ground. A little bit of a see-through area. Always. What happens if you burrow an Ultralisk here? Do you actually get to see the whole Ultralisk underground as well? Or do Ultras just not have, bodies underground? That's a question to be asked, huh? Ghosts being made, enhanced shockwaves on the way out. I mean, TaeJa's just hitting that final layer of tech to really build up this army, and then he's kind of set up. All he could really do from here is probably, 3 upgrades for a start, but outside of that, all you can really do here as TaeJa, I think, is going towards like extra starports and slowly trade out some bio units, maybe for a couple more Liberators and some more Vikings. Because eventually you kind of expect an air army to come in from HerO. Typically they go in towards a Tempest army to then help deal with the fact that you're up against a whole bunch of ranged Liberators. And so against the Tempest, you obviously usually want Vikings. So that's kind of the way you usually go. But obviously if there's no Tempest, then Vikings are not really a necessity. Like I said, the ranged Liberators will cover the Colossi pretty nicely, and this kind of comes down to dancing the Disruptors. And TaeJa has a big stim there just to grab a couple of Zealots. It scares HerO's army away, as TaeJa still taking worker damage around the map. I mean, HerO's harassment has been absolutely on point so far. He has really not let it up at all. He's been continuously hitting here, hitting there. Just really good attacks throughout, as we do see the Stalkers coming back in. An extra SCV or 2 still going down. 14 workers killed. I mean, it's really adding up. As the ranged Liberator shows up, gets a shot, but it's not quite in perfect position. HerO blinks back. Oh my god, you're kidding me. HerO! Stop! These workers, they keep dying! And oh my god, HerO is actually just brutalized. This is insane. These Stalkers have 10 kills between them. Meanwhile, TaeJa is setting up for the larger fight across the map. The Liberator siege in here. DT shows up, scans, kills that off easily. Ghost looking for the EMP, doesn't commit for it. Hits 1 EMP now. That poor Immortal, man, has just lost all its shields. It's on 1 HP. Like, this poor Immortal from earlier in the fight. These Stalkers, like, these guys are just having the time of their life, as TaeJa now actually pulls SCVs to fight them. It's getting that serious. I'm kind of scared to look away from the main fight, because it feels like anything could break out at any moment right now. The Stalkers will eventually go down. 23 workers killed. That's by army going to spread out a little bit, and you can see that HerO will move quite a lot of his zealots actually over to this right-hand side. So he's going to go for a major counterattack, but Widowmine will see it coming, so TaeJa should know about that. Problem is for TaeJa, it's very difficult for him to pull the trigger on being aggressive because the disruptors really do, you know, the disruptors really stop that, right? The disruptors are designed to push the bio back and buy you time as the Protoss player. So as these zealots arrive, what does TaeJa do about it? I mean, he's not really had any production or anything. Does he just have to pull home? I mean, that alone is kind of a shame, right? As we see these zealots charge on through, and TaeJa just does not really have a proper response to this. 18 workers go down. Now TaeJa actually jumps on the major army. Oh my god. He's going to jump on this, and he's going to probably win the fight quite convincingly. So the zealots missing from the fight absolutely hurt as the bio army will continue to press forwards. The Nexus taking some more damage. Liberator's setting up and just going to move up this round. The bio army going in after all these stalkers. Zealots from the left-hand side. The Colossus will drop the Disruptor. Disruptor might get a connection here. No, good split. I think TaeJa's just done enough here. We'll get a rewind on that fight as well just to see what happened, as we were obviously looking on the other side at the very start of it. These zealots, well, they're still an annoyance, but an annoyance is that all it is. TaeJa does find the opportunity to pull the trigger. It felt like he couldn't really figure out how to, but he gets the fight. And that's what you want to do in that scenario. You send, what, like 30 supply of zealots across the map? You're missing way too much from your army. And obviously TaeJa takes full advantage of it in the end. It just didn't look like he could initially. As now TaeJa up 150 supply to the 86. Looking very, very good. Stalkers blink in. A Liberator goes down. Zealots continue to join up with the rest of this here. A couple more DTs warping in. And this army continues to gather up on the 12 o'clock position. TaeJa will move around this side. A couple of Liberators will see GMPs. Can start this up as well. Hits a big EMP into the center of those Stalkers. Disruptor shot in. Marino and Marauder going down. Nothing too crazy just yet. The bio still pressing through here. Zealots wandering in. The Dark Templar pressing through this. I mean, this Nexus will continue to drop down as well as all of these Stalkers being chased away. The Disruptor gets caught as well. And this is turning into a disaster for HerO. I mean, it was kind of the writing was on the wall after that larger fight previously. He's going to try and stay in the game. He will not type out just yet. But he really is not too far away from it. A few Zealots go charging in, but I mean, it's an army that should never really win a fight. It's almost like man-at EMPs on those sentries. They're already dead. They're already out of energy. The force field's already dropped. It's pushing forwards here. TaeJa losing some SCVs across the map. A DT being annoying, but he deals with that very handily as well as he got that 5th base back up. And TaeJa will make it happen on Eternal Empire. Let's have a quick rewind on that fight that we missed just the very start of, just because there was obviously aggression across the map. So it was around about here. So yeah, the Zealots were obviously across, and that's what we were kind of focusing on. And it looked as though, yeah, it looked as though TaeJa, I'm just a few moments too soon here. It looked as though TaeJa kind of was backing away, right? He unsieges these Liberators, he pulls them back over the bottom side, and it looks as though I'm like, okay, well, this fight's not happening because TaeJa's just gone. So we look at to see what the Zealots are doing, and then TaeJa's just like, actually, hello, how you doing? Siege up all of these Liberators, Disruptors get picked off, and he just jumps on it. Oh, he really only missed like half a second or so. Crazy as that's a complete cleanup there, and that was TaeJa just the moment where he's just like, yeah, I can do this, I can fight. And he does, and he absolutely destroys it. He just wins the game with it. It almost baits, he baits HerO forwards, and as he baited HerO forwards, all of a sudden HerO's like, he just turns, he's like, this is what I want. Your Disruptors are too far forwards, I can fight this, my Libs can join in. Yeah, just HerO wandering a bit too far forwards, completely convinced like I was that TaeJa was out in the middle of the map. GG's, and TaeJa takes this 2-1 against HerO. What a great matchup though. Really a fantastic series to watch to start.